Andres Munoz just proved that he is one of the most overrated pitchers in baseball, and he really shouldn't be the closer. And thanks to that, the Mariners do lose 5-4 after a comeback effort where they were down 3-1 in the top of the ninth inning. They came back to take the lead 4-3, and then they blew it in the ninth inning with an Andres Munoz blown save. And then of course they had the bases loaded, and they still blew it with Julio Rodriguez up to bat, and he's just not that clutch. I'm just going to say that. And then you had Chicago scoring on an error by J.P. Crawford. The ball hit the helmet. But before I get started on this actual post-game show, hit that subscribe button, hit the like, hit the notification, as I would love to have this channel keep growing, as I am being a lot more consistent with the post-game shows. But here we are. So the Mariners, they were going into the series winning 8 in a row. They were just one game back from Texas. They were in the wild card spot, even threatening for a second wild card spot on Houston. But now Mariners lost, and we'll take a look and see how the game went. I will go ahead and go over the summary. And now let's take a look at it and see how this game even went. And boy, it was a thriller, I will say that, but just came at the cost. Now, here's the summary. So it was the first 2 innings where it did seem it was like going to be like a pitcher's duel. George Kirby was pitching very well. Then you had Tim Anderson singled to center field. And how it got to that point was Carlos Perez hit a line drive to right field, and Teoscar Hernandez with that, once again, lackluster effort that could have easily kept the guy at first base, but he was just bobbling it, and then went to second base. And then Tim Anderson hit the single to score. And then nothing really happened, where it was going into the 6th inning where Trace Thompson hit a home run, a 2-run home run to left field, which made it 3-0. And it really did look like the game was pretty much over until the top of the 7th, where Josh Rojas, he bunted. But before we get into that, Jose Caballero did get on base. He stole second, and then he stole third. And then Josh Rojas did a squeeze bunt, which the Mariners should be doing a lot more often to score, which did happen. And then they made it 3-1, but the Mariners still couldn't score anything more after that. And then another amazing thing was you got the new guy, Luke Weaver. He came in, struck out 5 batters in 2 innings. 5 in 2 innings on his debut, who was recently a failed starter for the Cincinnati Reds, recently got cut, and the Mariners just picked him up. And at least for the first game, he pitched very well. And that's where I'm saying, Scott Service, you got to at least let a pitcher that's on fire, let him pitch just one more inning if it's doing good. Got to take that risk sometimes. And it paid off. And you saved at least your pitchers at the time going into the 9th inning. And then in the 9th inning, it was Josh Rojas who got on base. Then J.P. Crawford, I think he walked. And then Julio Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh he pinch hit, and he got a single. So eventually that loaded the bases. And then Julio Rodriguez was hit by a pitch. And then that lead in the score to make it 3-2. Then Eugenio Suarez singled to center field. Julio Rodriguez to second base. J.P. Crawford scored, and along with Cal Raleigh, he scored. But first it was Cal Raleigh who scored, and then it was J.P. Crawford. And it looked like the Mariners were on their way to a 9th straight victory, which would have been really nice because you still got Houston playing. You don't know if they're going to lose. And then you got Toronto still playing against Baltimore. You don't know if they're going to lose. And with that victory, they could have at least gotten a game within a half game within Texas. But no, you just had to put in Andres Munoz as your closer, and he is already proving that he is not the closer solution for the Mariners. He already showed his meltdown in Game 1 of the division series against the Houston Astros when he gave up a home run. I think it was Bregman or something, or Kyle Tucker. Could have been one of those two. But then Munoz immediately gave up a double, and he didn't even bother doing like the intentional walk at least. And of course, he gave up a hit to Benintendi, which you really should have intentionally walked him. Scott Service, good on you for not making that kind of decision. And I'm telling you, this is where the Scott Service issues are. he makes very critical decisions, really bad decisions. And he already made bad lineup decisions as well. Didn't even play Cade Marlowe. Well, although he's been struggling, but you put Teoscar at right field when you could have put in Canzone at like left field and then like Dylan Moore at right field because he would have hustled for that one. So that tied the game. Then the Mariners loaded the bases, and unfortunately, you had Mike Ford starting at second base, where there was that boneheaded move where you pinch hit Jose Caballero, but yeah, he got on base, but I think Jose Caballero would have just got on base just as effectively. And then after that, with a bloop single even, I think it was by Josh Rojas, you couldn't even get a score off of that either because Mike Ford was just way too slow, unfortunately. And then Julio Rodriguez hit a nice little comebacker to the pitcher, which made it way too easy. And I have a really hot take. Julio Rodriguez is just not clutch at all. He just really isn't. Then you go into the ninth inning or the extra innings where the Mariners are just absolutely atrocious in extra innings. Like that luck they had in the last 2 years has pretty much ran out at this point. And it's a miracle that the Mariners are even in the contention. So what happened? Tim Anderson tried to steal third. Cal Raleigh threw to second, which was a good idea. And then J.P. Crawford would have nailed him at third base for sure. But then the ball hit off the helmet of Tim Anderson, and then Tim Anderson scored. And then the White Sox scored. And thanks to all that, the Mariners are now 1.5 games back from Texas. And now they are in danger of losing their wild card spot, which could easily be gone by the end of this day. And they don't really have a strong lead on that wild card at all. And even with the Kansas City series, you just really can't depend on that. You just can't depend on the bad team because then you have teams that are playing with that nothing to lose mindset. And let's have a little quick preview on the 25th. Now, when we go to the 24th, Texas Rangers are playing at Minnesota. You still got Baltimore playing Toronto, but Toronto's just been on fire lately. Then you got Houston. So you're going to probably lose a little bit more ground tomorrow as well. And now the 25th, who do you got going on? Let's look at the series. Got Toronto against Cleveland at home, so that's not going to be much help. Then you got Houston against Detroit at Detroit, so that's not going to help either. And so that's going to be quite damaging. And then let's see who Texas has. And oh yeah, Minnesota. I've already mentioned that. So here's Kansas City. Got Bryce Miller against Singer. Bryce Miller's been pitching okay. Singer's been a high strikeout guy, but been giving up a lot of runs. But I mean, to his defense, he doesn't really have a good team around him. So I expect that to be a tough series. Then you got Logan Gilbert, who's just not that great at home, but you got Lyles with a 6.20 ERA, but you still can't really depend on that at all. And then on Sunday, let's see who you got. Got Luis Castillo against to be determined. So Mariners, you would think would win at least 2 of those games, but and I know what the fans are going to say about Chicago. Well, at least we won the series, but here's the thing. Situation-wise, this was actually devastating because now that you lost the game, you're going to lose ground on your division and you're going to lose ground on your wild card. And then with the strength of the schedule for the other teams, they have a pretty lightweight schedule. So that means Mariners really have no room for error. They've really got to sweep. I know you're going to say something like, yeah, well, Rooftop. Well, first, you're not a true fan. 2, you're an idiot. 3, you have an agenda against Scott Service. And 4, you can't expect to win every single game. This is baseball. But in situations, you have to win. You absolutely have to win, especially when other teams are playing the terrible teams. As much as we're playing the terrible teams, so is everyone else. So nothing is safe, but they really got to step up and they really got to come back from this because this could be one of those confidence devastators. But unfortunately, it is what it is. But those are my thoughts for this game. Thank you very much for watching once again. And if you did like this video, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. And thank you for watching. Thank you for watching my show. Thank you for watching the live. And have a fantastic day.